This segment with Kevin Byard, as always, brought to you by the good folks at ChevyDriveChicago.com, the official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. Let's bring in Kevin Byard. And KB, first and foremost, hope you enjoyed the holiday with the family. Happy Thanksgiving. The final two plays on Thursday, last 32 seconds, watching it unfold like you did on the sidelines, what was going through your mind as the clock was winding down?
Yeah, man. Again, thanks for having me. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great weekend as well. Obviously we didn't get the results we wanted on Thanksgiving. We didn't start the game good enough. But we battled back in that second half, fall all the way back from 16-0. Speaking on the last play, yeah, honestly, I was dealing with a little bit of a thigh contusion. So I was on the bike on the sideline, kind of watching our offense drive, rooting the boys on. And honestly, you're thinking the whole time, we're either going to go down and score or we for sure going to kick a field goal. Then obviously, we had a sack on the play and obviously you knew we had a lot of time there. So, and my thoughts, I was thinking like, okay, we're probably either we're going to call timeout. That's what I was thinking. We're going to call timeout. But I seen obviously, Caleb's trying to rush up and get a play called. And, kind of as the time was going down, I was like, damn, we're wasting a lot of time. So it was, to me, it was definitely a little confusing there, not only just within the offense, but I was a little bit confused. I'm thinking like, man, he's struggling out there. Call timeout. And, obviously the timeout wasn't called. And then, the clock ran out in the last play. Kind of a little bit in shock of what happened there. Even talking to some guys on the Lions team and just on their sideline, they were kind of surprised and shocked at kind of how things had played out there. Because I think we all felt, and I'm pretty sure people watching the game thought that the game was at least going to go into overtime. So it was definitely some confusion there. So yeah, it was a weird way to go out.
Your teammate, Jalen Johnson, was pretty upset about it, and he directed his angry feelings in the locker room after the game. I don't want to specifically talk about what Jalen said because I'm a true believer in what happens in the locker room should stay in the locker room. But as a leader, as a guy who's been in the league 9 years, how do you feel about a teammate speaking up like that? Are you cool with it, or do you think it's something that should be kept private between that player and the coach?
No, we play a very emotional game. You have to play this game with emotion. And, for a guy like Jalen, who's been here, 5, 6 years, I think it's his 5th year, has never had a winning season. And I've heard, he spoke about in some interviews talking about in previous years, he felt that the talent on the roster wasn't as good as it is now. And, to be in a lot of close games that he's been in the past and not to come out on the winning side of those things. And, obviously going against the division opponent on Thanksgiving, the way the game ended, it was frustrating amongst all players. But I think for a guy like him, who's obviously a Pro Bowl player, puts everything into it, everything into his craft and everything into the week of preparation, when you lose, it's frustration. And sometimes, you need to get those things out because what they end up doing is you keep holding it in, they fester, and everybody deals with those things differently. And so obviously he was frustrated in the game. I welcome that. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, you need to tone it down or you need to go pull the coach to the side. Like I said, man, he's earned the right to be able to voice his opinions in our locker room, being the captain, being the leader. But yeah, like I said, those things are frustrating. And, at times, those things tend to happen in the locker room. And it's like that. I'm pretty sure it just happened in multiple locker rooms. I've been in case where being in Tennessee, it's been times where guys are frustrated because we might have been losing a few games and guys get frustrated. Things are said in the locker room at the end of the game. So yeah, at the end of the day, you want to keep those conversations and things like that in-house, but emotions spill out all the time within NFL locker rooms.
Hey man, it's an emotional game. I get it, 100%, Kevin. DJ Moore said on the radio yesterday that Thursday's game, in his opinion, was really the final straw for Coach Eberflus. I know you have a relationship with Flus because Flus ran the defense and you're one of his leaders on defense, but did you feel the same way? Did you feel like, man, I don't know how he comes back from something like this?
Yeah, man, first and foremost, I never like to see a coach get fired. I don't like to see anybody lose their jobs. We all have families. We all have mouths to feed. And when you're talking about somebody else's livelihood, I hate to see that happen. It's unfortunate. We know this is a production-based business, a results-based business, and when you don't get the production or results done, this is the business of football, right? Um, I didn't personally know or was anticipating or thought that he was going to get fired. Clearly history has shown here in Chicago that just doesn't happen. Within 100+ year history doesn't happen. So wasn't thinking or anticipating saying this is going to happen. Who knew it was going to happen towards the end of the football season? But no, I didn't know he was going. I didn't think he was going to get fired at the end of the game or the next day. But like I said, man, these things happen in this business of football.
I want to talk to you about your new interim head coach, not new, but he is now the interim head coach, Thomas Brown. Great leader, brings the juice. That's what DJ Moore said. And he feels like this is a guy who's going to turn things around. You agree?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of respect for TB. Obviously, I had a lot of respect for Flus. I mean, obviously, he was one of the guys, and he was one of the biggest, person that put his hand up in there to bring me in here. So, but I have a lot of respect for TB. Just even seeing him in front of the team, not only yesterday but in previous weeks, getting in front of the team, talking about the keys to victory on offense. He commands the room for sure. He's definitely obviously smart. He's played ball. He's played in the league. He's done these things. So he really knows how to connect well with players. For me, honestly, I think that at the end of the day, us as players, man, we write these coaches' resumes, right? So, obviously there are some things that I feel like as a head coach and just feel like him that he can do to help us rally. But at the end of the day, we got to go out there and we got to make things happen as players. And, I think that obviously I'm looking forward to just these last 5 weeks for sure. Not really worried about what the futures hold for this team, playoffs or anything like that. We're just going to try to go out here and play for each other, play for pride, play for our last names on our jerseys, and go out there and let's see what happens.
Brown talked about uniting the locker room, Kevin, with no divisions yesterday when he met with the media. Did you sense that there were any fractures within the team?
Man, I think that just as up and down this year has been, um, at times, and it's very easy to do this, and it's almost like it's natural as humans to do it. When early in the season, where the offense might have been trying to find their footing, and we felt like our defense was ready to go, and we were playing really good. It's easy for sometimes for guys to look at the other side of the ball like, hey man, if they get their stuff together, we'll be a really good team, or and it's harder to focus on just your job and not focus on what the offense is doing, and vice versa. I think these past few weeks, I think our offense has been playing pretty good, and they've been obviously picking up, especially after TB kind of took over the play call, and they've been putting up some points. And I don't think as a defense the past few weeks we have played up to our standard. You know what I mean? So that's why I always preach to guys, and I preached this early in the year, like, um, we just got to continue to worry about our stuff. I was in Tennessee back when we went to the AFC Championship game back in 2019. We started out that year, I think it was 2-4, 2-5. Bench Marcus Mariota and brought in Ryan Tannehill, and the offense started to roll. And it was the same thing back then where we were playing well as the defense, but we won't put up no points. And our defense coordinator at the time, Dean Pease, he the one who kind of preached this to the room and said that, hey, just because the offense is struggling right now, I promise you, those guys will get it together. We just have to keep doing what we're doing. And we end up taking that thing all the way to the AFC Championship game. So I'm always just focused on my job, focus on what I need to do, and try to do it to the best of my abilities. If we all do that collectively, things tend to kind of even itself out.
All right, as a veteran, you played for a Mike Vrabel. You just touched on it. Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia, strong leaders. Do you think a leader of men is an important trait for a head coach in the NFL these days?
Yeah, 100%. I think that when you look at being a CEO, which a head coach is a CEO of a football team, I think your most important job, other than I would say like the clock management and handling special situations in games, being a leader of men is probably your most important quality that you can have. I do feel like Matt Eberflus is a leader of men. I appreciate a lot of things that he did for this team and just for us, empowering players as captains, meeting with us on a weekly, something that I didn't do in previous stops. So I appreciate that part. So I do think that being a leader of men is probably the most important quality you can have as a head coach. Because at the end of the day, you know, when it's all good when things are good, you know what I'm saying, when you're winning, but when things are tough and because things are going to be up and down in the NFL, you have to be a great leader of men. You have to inspire people. So yeah, I would definitely think that that should be at the number one of every coach's head coach's character and their qualities.
All right, we all hope that TB and you guys go off and roll through the last 5 games and win all 5 of them, putting himself in a great position to become the permanent head coach. But tell me, what was it like playing for a guy like Mike Vrabel in Tennessee? You think he's a good coach, good head coach?
I think Mike Vrabel's a great head coach. I personally feel like, well, yeah, he's definitely the best head coach I've ever been coached by.
Why? Tell me why, KB.
Well, I would just think just from the jump, he came in as a culture. The culture that he came into as Tennessee Titans, we were like a 9-17 in back-to-back years. And I think one of the biggest things that he implemented was a lot of things that he learned from Bill Belichick. When you talk about changing the culture, to be honest, even though I'm doing this right now, we had like certain media rules. When you talk about keeping things in house, he made sure that every player understood there were certain things that he wanted us to pretty much talk to the media about, and things that we did. Not to say there was like ultimate control, but there were different examples that he kind of talked about, whether it was like, comparing players and talking about injuries, different stuff like that. And honestly, one of the biggest things that he did when he first came in, I've never seen a head coach, even though he's a defensive guy, this man coached every position from quarterback to running back and to receiver to everywhere on the defense. And even if he wasn't the best quarterbacks coach or anything, he learned. He really wanted to sit in everybody's meetings to kind of know what guys are being coached to do. And he held guys accountable. Every single week, training camp, practice, every day, we had this thing called lowlights. And it was one of those deals where, as a player, you didn't want to end up on this highlight tape. You know what I'm saying? Like, because more than likely he was going to put you up in front of the team. It didn't matter who you were. So one of the best memories I have of Vrabel is our first team meeting we had during OTA practice, his first spring. It was like the first play of practice, right? And Derrick Henry took a run off to the left, gained some yards. Obviously, we don't have any pads on. And he showed a clip of Taylor Lewan when Derrick Henry broke the line and ran up the sideline. He did like this home run trot or whatever. And he ripped into Taylor. Like, we got our freaking left tackle trying to get a new contract and he's jogging on the field. And it was one of those things where guys kind of just said, like, oh, shoot. Like, and at this time, I'm a young player, too. I'm like, I think in year 2 or 3. And I'm like, man, he's getting into Taylor's behind right now. So it kind of just put everybody on guard to see, like, hey, every single day you got to put this work in. You do not want to end up on this highlight tape getting cussed out by your head coach because obviously the GM, everybody's in the room. So it's just that level of accountability. And obviously he was a great, when it comes to time management and things like that. But he also developed a relationship with guys. He's very close to even a lot of players. Myself, I see Vrabel a lot in the offseason. I still talk to him. He developed a great relationship with all his players. So it's a lot of different things, but he definitely held everybody accountable.
Man, it's amazing that the guy wasn't coaching this year, but I could see stepping away from the game for a year to get those batteries recharged again. Tell me about Eric Washington. Tell me what he brings to the table as the new defensive play caller, and what's it been like playing under him this season?
Yeah, I'm excited to see, E-Dub, kind of get, his opportunity to call plays. Obviously, Flukes called defensive plays. E ran our meetings throughout the week, and on Saturday, Flukes kind of took over at that point. So really just see like how interesting it's going to be. Not necessarily saying it's a new dynamic, but to see, he's going to pretty much be running the defense probably for the rest of the year. I think he's a very smart, bright coach. He does a great job as well, inspiring players. He's a great motivational speaker, but not only that, he's very smart. And I'm excited to see, kind of how things are. He actually met with every position group just on Monday, kind of just talked about what he's looking for from every position group and what he's looking forward to. So I'm excited. I think that just as a player, obviously these are tough situations to be in with the record we have. But like I said, at the end of the day, you can only focus on what's right in front of us. And right now we got the 49ers on a away game in Santa Clara. And I'm excited to go out there and, and put our abilities on display.
I was going to say, you feel good about winning this game on Sunday after everything that's happened?
Personally, I feel good about winning every game. honestly, there's not a game that we go into where I feel like we can't win and we can't go out and dominate teams. So I feel just as confident as I felt last week in Detroit about this week as well. Like I said, I think that as players, um, our backs is exactly against the wall. So I believe in the character of the guys we have now, we have on this team to go out here and, like you said, come out swinging. Because at the end of the day, that's all we really got.
Is there a different sense of urgency, Kevin, now with the head coaching change, or is you feel the same as you felt all year long?
Well, I mean, I would say it's tough to say that because at the end of the day, I feel like our sense of urgency has been up there. So at the end of the day, we'll see on Sunday. Obviously, we have our process that we go throughout the week in practice. I'll tell you that definitely needs to continue to be a greater sense of urgency, how we prepare, how we meet, how we are doing different things throughout the week. And on Sunday, we need to go out there and just let it go, let everything fly. Because like I said, man, at the end of the day, our back is completely against the wall. We need to come out swinging. Don't leave any bullets or anything in the chamber. We need to go empty everything out. And like I said, we go out there and get a win, try to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, got nothing to lose right now. As always, thanks for the time. Stay healthy. We'll see you on Sunday, Kevin.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, Lou. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.